The tables that I'm going to show you are taken from the book Torah Codes, A Glimpse into the Infinite. Who wrote it, did it? Professor Robert Meir Haralick from Grandeur Center University in New York, Professor Liao Rips from the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, and myself from Haralick Glazerson. Very interesting and significant tables, all of them, as you will see, were analyzed scientifically and have very important message in them. So let us see now the chapter about repentance. So this is chapter 14, Teshuvah, repentance, Mashiach and end of days. So this is what Professor Haralick wrote. A few days after the children of Israel left Egypt, Pharaoh and his army, horses and chariots, pursued them. The Torah then tells us in Hebrew, ופרעה הקריב, ויסעו בני ישראל את עיניהם, which is translation of the biblical Hebrew is, and when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes. However, this particular translation is actually grammatically incorrect. The Hebrew word ikri does not mean to draw near, rather it means to cause to draw near. This is the reason that the Midrash Tanhuma tells us that the Pharaoh caused to draw near in this sentence means cause to draw near to Teshuvah, to repentance. In the Zohar, Rabbi Yossi says, it has been pointed out that the word drew near, literally brought near, is in the causative form, signifying that he brought the Israelites near to God by repentance. So, Pharaoh הקריב means that Pharaoh brought them to Teshuvah. Thus, from this source, the sense of this verse is, and when Pharaoh caused the children of Israel to draw near to God, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes and did teshuvah, repentance. As shown in the table of figure 1, we find exactly this interpretation confirmed in the Torah codes. Right by the terms of our Krib, we find the minimal skip for teshuvah, the return or the repentance in the center, in the entire 5 books. Notice that the final A of the word teshuvah, the letter A, is the final letter A of Pharaoh, and the Bet, the letter Bet of the repentance teshuvah, is the final of Ikriv, draw near, with the expected number of ELS. ELS is equal letter sequence set to 10. The probability that a text in the random, we see just now. So the probability in placement monkey test population corresponding to the 5 books would have as compact meeting as that shown in figure 1 of the 3 key words ופרעה הקריב התשובה is an incredibly small 4 to 1 million. The next table is based on the term Shuvah, there is repentance, and Shavu Banai, my children returned. The table in itself is not statistically significant. However, that is interesting is where the Torah, there, ELS, the equal letter sequence letters appear. The table goes from documentary 29-28 through Deuteronomy 38. In the text of these verses, we find that the Torah uses the verse V'ashevot levacha, then you will take it to your heart, and V'ata tashuv, and you shall return. This is shown in the table of figure 2. There is remarkable agreement between where the ELS are placed and the topic the Torah is teaching. So let us see now what it is. So this is what you see here. Teshuvah. That's exactly the bet of Shuvah is Ikri, drawn here, and the A is Pharaoh, unbelievable. So this is figure 1, shows the most compact table containing the ELS for Ikri and Shuvah, repentance. So this is the second interesting table. As you can see, Teshuvah comes here every 52 letters, which is minimal. Is the book in Deuteronomy. V'ashevot levacha, as we saw, brought to your heart. And then Shavu Banai, my children, return, did repentance. V'ata tashuv, and you will come back. So in this figure 2 shows the most compact table in the Torah, containing the equal letter sequence of keywords at Shuvah, the repentance, and Shavu Banai, my children, return. The cylinder size is 26 shalom, and amazing, like the name of God, representing mercy, as we know. So this is another interesting table in which we see also the word Teshuvah. This is minimal in the book of Leviticus. Teshuvah, parallel to Simcha, to joy, and Messiah. So this shows the most compact, as we said, very significant, and the repentance. So we find the word Teshuvah, Teshuvah, the repentance, and the joy. Simcha, Simcha, interesting. Teshuvah is minimal in the book of Leviticus. Then we go further in our book, and we see here what the Gemara in Yuma says. In Talmud Yuma, our sages tell us that at the time that repentance occurs, the Redeemer will come, there will be the increased security. The next table shows the compact formation of these three words: the repentance, and will come, and Redeemer, and security, using protocol with the expected number of ELS equal letter sequence set in 30. The probability that a text in the ELS random placement monkey text population would have a table as compact as that observed 4.5 to 1 million. So altogether, this is an interesting table as we saw just now, in which you have the word repentance, and there will come Redeemer, and security. And then, as we saw, all these things coming in Deuteronomy, in the verses, will tell us when all these things befall you, the blessing and curse that I have set before you, and you take them to heart amidst the various nations to which your God has banished you, and you return to your God, and you and your children heed God, command with all your heart and soul, just as I enjoyed upon you this day. You, however, will again heed and obey all the divine commandments that enjoin upon you this day. So it's amazing. This is exactly what we saw in the tables, that all these verses in Deuteronomy 30 came in those wonderful tables, as I said. Professor Haralick did in the book, which one can get in Amazon.com, Torah Course, A Glimpse into the Infinite, or one can get it also in my site, GlazersonBooks.com, or in Kindle. So, very interesting and very significant table. As here you have it, Kabbalah, because Kabbalah says that 52 is the name of the world of activity, of action. Olam Asiyah, you come here at Shuvah, comes every 52 letters, very significant. Then we can see in the other tables, also very interesting, every 26. 26 is God's name, representing loving kindness, mercy. So, as I said, this is from the chapter 14 in this book, Torah, called Glimpse into the Infinite. And as I said, many other interesting tables are in this book. So definitely hoping that Messiah, very interesting, this is what he said, that about the name Mashiach, Messiah, basically the same letter like Yisamach. You can see, very interesting, the joy Mashiach, and as its name, the same letter like Yisamach, which means will, made happy. This suggests that Mashiach will bring us happiness. The Gematria for Simcha is 358, and this also the Gematria of the word Mashiach. This teaches us that Messiah will bring us the true and complete, full happiness. This change from happiness to full happiness, as indicated in the letter Chet, produced with the expected random of the ELS, which is 30, and probability as this text in the ELS random placement as text population corresponding that the 5 books would have a table as compact as the one shown in figure 3, which is 0, 0, 15. It is interesting that the table occurs in the Torah discussing on the offering of the festival of Passover. Definitely it has to do with Messiah. So as I said, very interesting tables and wonderful explanation by Professor Robert Haralick on these things. So as I said, much more one can see in Torah course, A Glimpse into Infinite, which was done by Professor Haralick, Professor Rabbi Glazerson, myself.